Today I'm going to show you a brand new technique with the Gelliplate. I worked on it for about 2 months now. I'm using the Gelliplate in combination with the Adirondack Alcohol inks, the blender, and also some dye inks to get a base on the Gelliplate so that it doesn't fade very fast. The pro for using the Adirondack Alcohol ink in combination with the Gelliplate is that you don't need high gloss paper you used to use when you are working with the alcohol ink. Before you start with working with alcohol ink, it's the best to use some multi-purpose gloves so that you don't get any ink on your hand or fingers. This new technique, I really like it because I don't need to use the high gloss. You can also use a matte paper, you can also use Japanese paper, you can even use ribbon and so on, and you get marvelous results with this technique. So what you need is the brayer. You can use something to draw into the ink. You need a blender, the dye ink, and then the alcohol ink. At first you take the bottle with a dye ink and place some dots on the Gelliplate. After that you use some blender before you start with the colors, and then you roll out the ink and the blending solution so that it's gonna be one equal base of colored ink and blending solution. This is step 1. After that you take some bottles, some colors of the alcohol ink and do a little bit on top of the base you have made. You can brayer it out or you can leave the dots on itself so that you really get a nice marbled base on your Gelliplate. So I used 2 types of blue because I'm working on a sea life theme this weekend, and the butterscotch, which is a really nice light color. You see that every drop is getting bigger in the base on the Gelliplate. So you can print now, but what we are going to do is to use a comb to make some patterns into the Gelliplate. Don't use anything sharp because it damages the Gelliplate, but this is a rubber comb. Then you can really work fast with little ATC, artist trading cards, but even though you work fast, you have enough time to place the little cards on top of the Gelliplate. Then after that you roll a little on so that the ink is coming everywhere, and then with another piece of cardstock you can lift it from the Gelliplate and you have really nice patterns. So this is the first step, and due to the fact that it is alcohol ink, it's really fast drying. So when I lift the little cards, you can place them on top of each other because the ink is immediately dry. So you can wipe off now, but I think there is still enough ink on the jelly plate to make a second print. You only add a little bit of blending solution and then you roll out the ink. What I'm now going to show is that also Japanese paper works really nice. It is soft paper, it's no high gloss paper, but you get really nice results because in fact the jelly plate itself is the high gloss paper. Yeah. When you take it off, you can see that you have, with the second print, really nice results. So next is, we're gonna do the process the same time, the same again, so we don't have to clean the jelly plate. You only clean the jelly plate when you are using other colors. So you start again with the dye ink. After that, a little bit of blending solution. Brayer it out. You really need a brayer for this technique. You can't do it without a brayer. So for the second time, make your base with blue ink, dye ink and blending solution. Then add the different alcohol ink in drops, the butterscotch, the stream and at last the eggplant. What I'm going to show you now, that you don't need any paper to print on, but you also can use it in combination with ribbon, with fabric. All the drops are spreading out now. You take your comb again and you draw into your jelly plate, really nice and slow, and then the half of it I will work with a paper, a matte paper, because it's a pity when you don't use everything, and the other half I will press some ribbon. Just lay it on top of the jelly plate, and here you see when you are working with the ribbon that you really need to work with all-purpose gloves, because you get a lot of paint on your fingers. And as you can see, it even works on cotton and ribbon. So I'm taking off the paper which I'm using for a larger card, and after that I'll take some new blending solution in preparation for the second print. So you don't need to add new ink. What you can do is the little bit ink that's on top of the brayer, you can again color cardstock with it. There is enough ink left on the jelly plate to do a second set. Again, press it with a little brayer and with another piece of cardstock pull off the paper. You see, even with the second print there is really enough ink left. So after this one I'm going to clean the jelly plate. You can use the blending solution, or you can wipe it off with lotion based baby paper, or you can clean it with the blue spirit. You see, it's easy to clean your jelly plate. And also don't forget to clean your brayer as well, because when you are working with different color of alcohol ink and you forgot to clean off your brayer, you see the bits of the first ink colors as well. So what I'm gonna do, I replace the eggplant for the wild plum. It's a dark ink, so don't use too much of this one because it's a very heavy ink. Again, start with a dye ink. We will use a different type. We will use now a violet ink, which goes better with the eggplant and the wild plum. Add some blending solution. For this technique you absolutely have to work with blending solution, otherwise it doesn't fade out the colors. See, it's a really nice dark purple ink and it will really nice shine in combination with the wild plum, the stream and the butterscotch. So again, step 1, your base, and then again add some drops of the Adirondack alcohol ink. This time I don't use the comb to make a pattern. I leave it. Let's see what happens when you only use the different ink. You can also add some ink in the other ink. It will fade out, and that's thanks to the blending solution. When you only should use the dye ink and the alcohol ink, it doesn't spread out on your jelly plate. A little bit dark green, it's the stream from Ranger. And then I will do a little bit a larger piece of paper, actually 2 pieces of paper, to make a background, and perhaps there is even enough room left to print some ATC cards as well. I think so. So I will place down, I hope 3, but I think it's gonna be 2 pieces of the ATC format of cards. Don't use a knife for this, just use a piece of paper. You see a really vibrant, beautiful dark colors. Because this is a little bit another type of paper, it will react differently from the other papers. Let's see what he's done with the ATC cards. You see, this is more matte and not a gloss. It's really nice, and no piece of paper will be the same. There's nothing left, so use a little bit of the blending solution, roll out again for the second print. And I think sometimes when you add a lot of ink, you can even go for a third print. This time I'm going to use the comb to make some patterns. For half I will place a piece of Japanese paper, and the other half I'm going to use for the artist trading cards. On top of it, and I think we can do too, but when you have left some place, just put it on the jelly plate, lift, and do the other half on the other place. You get really nice results with it. And again, no piece of paper will be the same. So I'm gonna use this as background on cards, on artist cards, on all kind of cards. Even I cover booklets, little books I bind with the Japanese paper. So this is the little video that shows how to marble with alcohol ink on the jelly plate. Thank you for watching.